The Brazilian team fired Dorival Jr. and his place will be taken by Carlo Ancelotti. This means that we will see a new coach for Real Madrid. Notably, the club's fans have petitioned for Cristiano Ronaldo's return solely for the duration of the Club World Championship. Dani Alves has been released and let out of jail. And shocking news from Argentina. It appears that the legendary Diego Maradona has been killed. The investigation is ongoing. We will discuss this and more today. Friends, this is Dose of Football and the top 10 hottest news up to this hour. Rather, charge your royal likes, because if we collect 5,000 thumbs up today, we will definitely see you tomorrow. Well, I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Does the Club World Championship affect transfer moves? For example, the window in the Pelo opens on the 1st of June and lasts until the 10th of June in connection with a special period of player registration. Then it will open again on the 16th of June and close on the 1st of September, as in other European leagues. Naturally, this affects the club's policies, but it's best to look at the practices. I assume that most teams will still prefer to wait for the second window and then work on the market. But some participants of the Club World Cup will specifically stock up for the tournament. For example, the Mexican Pachuca, as you remember, excluded the Mexican club León from the championship participants, as it has the same owner as Pachuca. Sad news for James Rodriguez, who plays for León, but he can still play in the tournament. Pachuca is working on transferring the Colombian player. Charitable structures simplify everything. As for León's place, it seems that he will not be replaced by Barcelona or Liverpool, as previously written, but only by Alajuelense from Costa Rica. So, is it fair to the fans from North America? In addition to James, another former Real Madrid star can't stand to play in the tournament. I've already said that Cristiano Ronaldo is eager for the club championship. The information is confirmed by Marca. As it turned out, Chris may end up not only in Inter Miami. Real fans are already preparing a petition for Cristiano's transfer during the World Cup. According to the tournament rules, clubs will be allowed to sign up to 6 players without long-term contracts. And what's stopping Madrid from agreeing with Cristiano for just a month? To generate unreal hype to sell football jerseys and at the same time please the fans. Most importantly, as previously stated, the Saudi sheikhs will not oppose it. After the tournament, Ronaldo will return to Al Nassr. New football rules have been set. The International Council of Football Associations has adopted changes that will be implemented the next season. If the goalkeeper holds the ball for over 8 seconds, a corner kick is awarded. The referee will count the last 5 seconds while raising his hand. If the goalkeeper does not release the ball in time, a corner is awarded from the nearest corner of the field. Repeated violation is a yellow card. The rule looks great on paper and should work for the benefit of the game. Now, it won't be so easy for goalkeepers to waste time at the end of matches, and the overall pace of the game will speed up. However, if a team is pinned back to their own goal, 8 seconds may simply not be enough to catch their breath and take their positions on the field. Surprisingly, the game's quality and intensity can actually decrease to some degree in the end. This needs to be checked in practice. There will also likely be more fouls and goalkeeper errors when handling the ball, and the value of goalkeepers who are good with their feet will increase. In addition, according to the new rules, only the captain can talk to the referee. The rest must stand aside and keep quiet. Personally, I'm all for it. Also now, competitions may allow referees to publicly announce and explain their decisions after a video assistant referee review or extended check. Just like in American football, the game will become simpler and more understandable to the viewer. I also approve. There are a couple more innovations that I talked about on my Telegram channel. If you are interested in the freshest and juiciest news from the world of football, then welcome to the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Qatar Sports Investments is expanding its influence in football. I've already mentioned that the Qataris are about to buy the Spanish Malaga. The head of the fund, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, already has numerous obligations and positions. In addition to working in and managing Paris Saint-Germain, he is also a member of the Union of European Football Associations Executive Committee and heads the Association of European Clubs. In addition, Al-Khelaifi runs a network of sports channels that brings Union of European Football Associations hundreds of millions of dollars. Can Al-Khelaifi advance the interests of Paris Saint-Germain by exerting pressure on Union of European Football Associations through his media holding? The question, of course, is complex. Nasser is planning to further increase his influence on football, and it seems to leave the post of president of Paris Saint-Germain soon. According to information, Al-Khelaifi is planning to remove Gianni Infantino from the position of the head. Nasser will advance his candidacy for the next elections in 2027, and he has already begun laying the groundwork for it. Journalist Fabien Tauti explained where he got the information about Al-Khelaifi's plans. I heard this from many influential people, including Qatar. Their awareness cannot be ignored. How successful will Al-Khelaifi be in leading? Look at Paris Saint-Germain. How many restructurings have taken place in the club during his rule? How many times the course has changed? How many years he has been managing the team, into which Qatar is pouring fabulous sums? And how many times during this time Paris Saint-Germain has won the Champions League, national cups? There is no point in counting the 11 highest paid players of League One. Parisian footballers, considering the extremely dubious and ambiguous figure of Al-Khelaifi, who among other things is also suspected of human trafficking and theft in France. Honestly, I doubt that his likely appointment as the Fédération Internationale de Football Association president will bring positive reforms to football. Dani Alves was justified in the case of assault in North Cube. In March 24th, the Brazilian was found guilty and sentenced to 4.5 years in prison and another 5 years on probation. Alves' side appealed. After 14 months, Dani was released on bail. But yesterday, the Supreme Court of Catalonia reviewed the case and overturned the first instance sentence due to lack of evidence. A panel of 4 judges found that the existing facts were insufficient to overcome the presumption of innocence, and the initial sentence contained a series of gaps, inaccuracies, inconsistencies, and contradictions. In the opinion of the colleagues, the version of the so-called victim girl was not sufficiently studied, and they did not even bother to compare it with the fingerprints and biological components. The cameras show that the girl willingly went with Elvis to the toilet where everything happened. Naturally, the court also rejected the prosecutor's appeal, who insisted on increasing the sentence to 9 years, and the appeal from the victim, who asked to extend the sentence to 12 years. Alves Ines Guardiola's lawyer reacted to the guilty verdict. I'm on Dani's side. Justice finally has been done. He is innocent. This has just been proven. Very relieved and happy. In general, a story familiar to a number of footballers, for example, Theo Orlandosu. Not everyone spends 40 months in prison to win a false assault case. The Brazilian launched a company in May that protects athletes' image and interests, leaving an imprint. It seems Alves will do everything possible to prevent other players from suffering the hardships he had to go through. Despite this, the Spanish press writes that Dani is determined to continue making a living from football. Moreover, insiders reported this even before Alves was vindicated. But did he believe that his image would be saved? We are anticipating a Brazilian to join Barcelona's coaching staff. And the 10th film from Tarantino is freed by Dania. Manuel Neuer has lost his form and is having a second weak season in a row. Moreover, the German is being hindered by injuries, but in Bavaria they continue to bet on him. Moreover, in his recent matches, before he got injured, Manuel looked sharp and seemed like his old self. They are even willing to bring Kuiper, who has retired, back to the national team. Manuel initially wanted to take a break from playing for Germany, but his contractual situation in Bavaria at that moment forced him to announce his departure, as there were no guarantees that he would still be playing football. Well, now, after the extension, the scenario of a return is possible again. The coaching staff of the Bundesliga is really considering the option of inviting Neuer, but everything will depend on the form of Marc-André ter Stegen. Imagine how upset ter Stegen will be if even at the 2026 World Cup he will be sitting on the bench watching Neuer. Marc, one of the world's best goalkeepers, only plays for the national team on major holidays. This season everything was supposed to change, but Marc tore his cruciate ligament. Neuer will stay in Bavaria for the next season, just like Joshua Kimmich and Alphonso Davies. They renewed contracts with the three of them, with Sain still being a question mark as a leader. Considering there's not much time left until the end of the season, it seems that Sain will leave as a free agent. The same awaits Thomas Müller. Authoritative journalist Florian Plettenberg wrote that they will not sign a new agreement with Müller. Thomas is associated with Bavaria. Despite the interest of Manchester United and other clubs, Müller has remained loyal to Munich throughout his career and is likely to stay. If he ends his career after this season, he will easily manage at the Major League Soccer and Saudi Arabian League level. And I would recommend him to consider these options, if he, of course, does not want to fully focus on horse breeding. Barcelona beat Osasuna with a score of 3-0 and moved up to the clear first place in the tournament table. But the match's outcome can still change, which is unfortunate for Blaugrana fans. The thing is that Inigo Martinez played in the match, and Osasuna believes his presence on the field violated Article 5 of the regulations. According to this rule, a player who did not join the national team for medical reasons or left it cannot play for his club within 5 calendar days after the end of the international period. On the 17th of March, the Royal Spanish Football Federation announced that Eneco Marcosada and Brian Zaragoza were excluded from the national team for medical reasons. However, only the latter arrived for examination by the Furia Roja doctors. Despite the team's doctors not examining Martinez's injuries, he was excluded based on medical indications. As a result, according to the rules, Martinez couldn't play in the match against Osasuna. Spain played its last match on March 23rd, meaning Martinez did not take the field just 4 days after returning. Osasuna filed an appeal, resulting in Barcelona facing a technical defeat instead of the 3 points they had already earned. In Blagoevgrad, the Jacobs remain calm and unworried, confident that Sasuna's appeal will be fruitless. However, if in the end Barca loses 3 points, which could potentially be decisive in the championship race, it would be an unprecedented blunder by the management and coaching staff. Brazil has fired national team coach Drevell Jr. after the team only managed to secure 4th place in the World Cup qualifiers. And with such a lineup, it should be leading or at least occupying the 2nd position. The last straw was the defeat of Selecao by the Argentine national team, an unbeatable rival. Despite Brazil's on-paper advantage, Argentina defeated their rival without Messi, Dybala and Lautaro. But this is a complete disgrace for the Pentacampeons. Under Dorival, the Brazilian national team remained a collection of individuals, not a cohesive team. In general, the appointment of a specialist was quite strange. With constant rumors of negotiations with Ancelotti and Guardiola, Dorival felt like a placeholder, not a coach for long-term work. And it's no surprise that in the end the coach will not lead the team at the World Cup. According to the Brazilian publication, now Selecao wants to appoint a foreign coach. They are choosing from Carlo Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola and Jorge Jesus. Everything appears to be in place with Carlo Ancelotti. He has agreed to lead the team. He told his close ones that he will try to get into the Brazilian national team before the World Cup. But he does not rule out the possibility of ending his coaching career a couple of years earlier, leading one of the Saudi clubs. But it is more likely that the Italian will still work with the Pentacampeons, as they have long dreamed of his appointment. Now the coach himself has made Brazil his priority. And we will not see coach at the helm of Selecao only in the event that Real Madrid retains him after this season, which is highly unlikely. A trial has begun in Argentina that the whole country is following. And all because at the center of attention is the death of the legendary Diego Maradona, the great player who could have been killed by doctors. Diego Maradona Jr., his son, stated this. He is certain that they will prove the doctors' negligence killed him. If they had treated him properly, he could be sitting next to me right now. Prison terms loom for 7 medics who assisted Maradona in his final days. They face 8 to 25 years for intentional manslaughter. The autopsy revealed that Maradona died as a result of secondary acute lung edema and exacerbated chronic heart failure. However, according to the expert conclusion, he also suffered from other pathologies including kidney and liver problems, heart failure, and neurological disorders. The accusation states that the doctors were instrumental in the grossly inadequate and reckless home hospitalization and also committed a series of improvisations, managerial errors, and miscalculations. Prosecutor Patrizio Ferrari stated that the doctors and those responsible for the reckless treatment should be held accountable. Whoever said they didn't notice what was happening with Diego is lying. Ferrari explained that everyone who came to Diego's house saw that he was in a critical condition and warned the doctors about the need to make corrections in the treatment. But they didn't listen. The forensic expert confirmed that Maradona needed hospitalization and he couldn't be treated at home. Before his death, Diego Armando's heart weighed 503 grams, twice the normal for an adult man, and the death itself was horrific. He could have been in agony for up to 12 hours. It was precisely because of the negligent actions of the doctors who could not take him to the hospital due to false alarms. Club president Tropani Valeria Antonini, a friend of Maradona, claimed the issue was not negligence but malicious intent by Maradona's renowned lawyer. They killed him, they spied on him, they made him sign documents when he no longer recognized himself in the mirror. Lawyer Morlo is responsible for everything. He is the one who chose the people who became part of Diego's environment and were supposed to control him. Only now is the terrifying truth about the death of one of the greatest footballers in history coming to light. It seems that with proper medical care, Maradona could have lived to see Argentina's victory in the World Cup. Zlatan Ibrahimovic came to Milan to pull the club out of crisis and at the same time mend relations between owner Jerry Cardinal and the team's fans, who were upset about the past disappointing season. At George Bush Intercontinental Airport, nothing worked out for Pavel Fonseca, who was appointed largely thanks to Ibra, and he was fired. And now the spotlight is on Sergei Conceição, whose candidacy was also insisted on by the Swedish ex-footballer. Moreover, Ibrahimovic's relationship with Conceição did not work out. They never greeted each other in public, and there are also complaints against Zlatan from the club's management. Ibrahimovic spends too much time watching the youth team's games where his son plays and does not pay enough attention to the main team. Ibra's appointment was very strange, as he was not given any specific position. Sweden is doing everything at once, which is roughly the same as doing nothing. Especially considering Zlatan's behavior style, who even interferes with the training process. He scattered on details instead of coordinating the actions of the club's officials. Legendary ex-Milan coach Fabio Capello believes that there is a mess in the club, including because of the appointment of Ibrahimovic. I find it hard to understand what the club wants, who decides what. For example, I don't quite understand the role of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now I read that they need a new sports director, fine, but with what powers? The club is moving to rectify the summer blunder by inviting the renowned Swede. According to Calcio Mercato, Ibra has been absent from Milan's training base for several days and didn't even show up for the gathering after the international break. Considering that the cross under Zlatan was shaking all the time, it seems he didn't arrive unscathed. And in the near future, the club will announce the dismissal of the legend. Carlo Ancelotti faces prison due to alleged tax machinations in Italy. The coach Jacob directed his income through a complex and tangled network of trusts and intermediary companies. And in this way, he simulated the transfer in his images of rights to organizations that had no real power over them. Thanks to this, Ancelotti and his company did not have to pay taxes in Spain. According to AES, the Madrid prosecutor's office has requested 4 years and 9 months of imprisonment for the coach. But the coach is not suffering. An appeal filed by the prosecutor will be considered next week. I won the first trial and fully trust the law and the judicial system. I'm not worried. It bothers me that they're talking about fraud on my part, but I'm ready to testify, said coach. According to Papa Carlo, he is not worried about his position at Real Madrid. However, Real's leadership met with Xabi Alonso this year, and the Spanish coach himself, unlike last season, is not saying that he will stay loyal to Bayer. My future. We are focused on this season and nothing else. Last year I made my decision different situations. At the same time last year there was something to announce. Actually, there is nothing to announce this year. Alonso hasn't signed a new contract with the club, so his future there is uncertain. And everything is leading to the fact that he will be the one to lead Slovakna in the next season. Where are all these rumors about Ancelotti's appointment to the Brazil team coming from? And that's all for today. Thanks for watching and subscribing. I'm Kirill Kas, and this was your daily dose of football. Peace to your house and to you Johanga friends.